So hi, I'm Mark from Group 7. This is Alexander Karsai. So Alexander, tell us about where you went on Erasmus, has to say, and which school did you go to?
So I went to Paris. I went there for a whole year. I went to the ISTEC École de Commerce. It's a marketing and business school in downtown Paris. What else
Yeah,
is there to say?
yeah, sure. So why did you go to that school?
I've always wanted to go back to study in Paris because I lived there when I was a kid, and I've always wanted to go back. So this was my opportunity, and I chose that school because for most business schools in France, for decent business schools, you need to do some tests, some exams to be allowed to get in.
Yeah, an entrance exam.
Exactly. And so I did in different schools, and I was accepted in that one, and I chose to do that one because it was also a school who had a lot of foreign students and also exchange programs, and I was really interested in that, so that's why.
Yeah, and so the entrance exam, was it like hard or?
It was very diversified, so there were like French tests, English tests, mathematics, also oral, like you needed to debate over certain issues, world problematics most of the time. So I wouldn't say it was hard, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah. So what were your expectations before you came to that school?
I expected a certain level of institution. Do you see it like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I expected a certain level of institution, but at the end, I how can I put this?
The expectations didn't really work out.
No, it wasn't what I expected it to be. It was like, I wouldn't say too easy, but it was not in depth. Like everything was very shallow. There was no depth. Very vague, exactly.
Yeah, very general.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so you did. What course did you do? Marketing.
Marketing, especially marketing, but also like business management, but in a less big degree.
Yeah, so it was basically a business school you went to, and like how was the general mindset of the business school you went to? Was it like, because I know the most of the business schools, the students have like a very enthusiastic, mindset. Was it like in your school?
The students there were very open-minded for everything that was foreign and all the courses, but they weren't very motivated to study, and because it was also so easy, they didn't need to be motivated. So everything was was pretty easy for them. So yeah, they were very open-minded, but not really motivated, and that worked out for them. So I don't think it's a good way of thinking to go into the business world later. That's not how the business world works. Not that everything is easy.
So, and the language the school was working with, was it English or French?
It was, most of the courses were French, and then there were English courses, of course. Most of the time, the English courses were just like business cases of business speeches you need to give in English. And there was also the option to choose a second language. I decided to take Spanish because it was the language I thought would bring me the most. But you can also choose from Dutch, no, not Dutch, German, excuse me, and also Chinese, Italian, and that's about it. But most of the courses were in French.
Yeah, and I can imagine that there were diverse nationalities in the school you went to. Was it like how was the language barrier between the international students and the French students?
There really wasn't much of a language barrier because the foreign students like myself, we already spoke very good French, or pretty good. But there was a big diversity of nationalities in my class, but they have all lived in France for quite some years, so their French was very good. That's also why they were able to go and study in that school.
Yeah, and now a totally different question. How was the food like? Is it the food in France better than in Belgium,
Uh,
in your opinion?
I wouldn't say it's better. It's more diversified. There are more specialities from region to region. They
Yeah.
vary a lot. But I lived in Paris in a big city, so you don't only eat French food. You eat everything. You eat sushi. You eat Thai. You eat African food. You eat all sorts of food. So I didn't really eat only French food and French cuisine. It was really very diversified. Yeah.
So there you were in Paris, now you're in Ghent. What's the main difference between those two cities, apart from the
Size.
yeah
The open-mindedness of people.
yeah? Is it in Paris
In
like
Paris, people are very open-minded. They don't judge you for who you are, how you look. Well, they still do, but a lot less than here in Ghent. I think Belgian people are.
quite conservative?
I think so. I find
Yeah. Does it bother you?
a lot.
Okay. So the next question is, in what way are the people from Belgium different than from those of
France.
France?
I think I already said it. In Belgium, they're more conservative than in France, but no, they're more conservative than in Paris because in certain regions of France, there are people like they have the same mindset as people do here. So it really depends on where you're from. I think if you're in Brussels, the mindset is also different than in Ghent. So it really depends on where you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was your accommodation like?
It was pretty good. I managed to find myself a studio not so far from where my school was in downtown of Paris. So I had everything I needed. I had my own kitchen, and so that's good for to save money because when you can make your own food, yeah, you save a lot of money. And in a city like Paris, that's important.
Yeah. So what would you recommend to the students that will go to France next year? Because I'm going to Nantes next semester. What would you recommend to these students in any way?
I think you should really document yourself about the school you're going to. See it's a good school and really talk to old students of that school. Thing that I didn't do. I just looked up in the folders and on the internet, and the school seemed really good. But at the end, I was a little bit disappointed in it. So you should really do that. And then just like some advice I could give you is just be open because French people are very open. They're curious. They're interested in who you are, what's your story, where you're from. They're really interested in the Belgian culture because they don't really know it, and they want to know what's different from your culture and their culture, but not like in a way they're judging it. They're just curious. So be open to that. Don't see it as an attack on they think I'm weird or something like that. Just be open to it, and then you make friends really easily in France.
Yeah. And how are the parties like?
I partied on the Champs-Élysées, so you can imagine expensive but unique. It's a unique experience.
And then I know you had been to a lot of places. You were traveling a lot before, and the fact that you have been in several schools in different countries, do you see that as an advantage into your further career?
I think it is. It opens your eyes to the world in a way only traveling doesn't. Because if you live in another country, you really, it's not the same as just traveling somewhere. You live it, so it's different. And I think it's an added value. It's not easy to change your lifestyle when as a child, to go and live somewhere else. It's not easy at all. Um, but after all, I'm glad I had that experience, and I know I have some other values that maybe I wouldn't have if I didn't live that experience.
Yeah, okay. So you would recommend anyone to go on Erasmus?
I surely would. I would do it myself. In a couple of years, I think I'm going to go on Erasmus again. Um, but I think it's an amazing experience. Something you should do. It's really an added value. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Alexander, for this interview.